We all need good friends when we are Christians. And sometimes we can find ourselves saying, it's really, really hard to find my tribe. Well, in today's episode, I want to tell you some of the things that I like to do to help me find my tribe, and it might help you as well. So, anytime we are here, we're always trying to just kind of share my journey with you as we talk about Jesus, you and me, and all that. And today is really no different. I will say that this is probably going to be a quick episode because I am filming this the day before I go on a 7-day cruise, and I'm trying to get all this stuff done. And part of me is like, girl, 5 minutes and get out of here. Okay, so if this episode seems shorter than normal, that's why. I've got 7 hours to wash my hair, style my hair, pack my clothes, and just do a lot of things before leaving the country for a week. But anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. How to find your tribe. So I know that one of the things that we all want is community. We want people who love us, accept us, celebrate us, and then we can love, accept, and celebrate as well. And I think that sometimes when we are trying to find our tribes, I think that we come to an experience like expecting people to just be something or these things, right? And before you try to find your tribe, one of the things that I want you to ask yourself is, what does your tribe look like? Okay. Not what do they physically look like, but how are they? Like, what are the people like? Are they all the same? If they're the same, how are they the same? If they are different, how are they different? Like, do they have to all be non-denominational or Catholic? Do they all have to have grown up in the same type of schooling, environment, or beliefs and all type of stuff? Do they have to be political or not political? If they are, do they have to be on a certain side? Do they have to be single? Do they have to be a certain race? Do they have to be emotionally intelligent? Do they have to be entrepreneurs? Like, it's really important to kind of figure out what it is that you are looking for. It's like when we are dating or you're looking for a husband or wife, you have an idea of what it looks like to have to find your partner, right? And so you begin to look for what looks like your ideal partner, right? But one of the things that we do is we also have to assess ourselves with, if I'm looking for X, what is X looking for, right? So if I'm looking for a man, right, and my man is ABC, then it's really important for me to not just go, oh, he has to be ABC, but I have to also ask myself, like, if he is ABC, what does he need? Right? Like, what is going to make him want to be with someone like me? Like, or am I just trying to get ABC and I'm just all over the place and expecting a miracle that somebody's just going to accept me as all is and no changes to me? So when it comes to finding your tribe, you have to kind of define that, right? And so I asked you, like, what does your tribe look like? What do they sound like? What do they do? How are they? And all that type of stuff. But also, it's important for you to ask yourself, who are you? How are you? What are the good things that you bring to the table? What are some of your nuances? What are some of your, growth areas, right? Because when you say, I'm looking for this tribe, and then you bring you with you, they're going to be saying to themselves, does this person fit in with me? Does this person align with me and the tribe that I'm trying to create? And if you end up coming into circles, then that tribe goes, does this person fit within our tribe? Right? Now, that doesn't mean that, you should have a clique or people should be cliquey. What I'm saying is that we all are like, we like a certain aspects of things. So like recently, I was at a conference and I'm hanging with certain people. And one of the things that we all love about each other, we're all down to earth. We're successful. We are, we care about people. We care about the world. We're kind. We're honest. We're generous. And we're looking for more people like us. So when we started to encounter the people who are not quite like us, we still embrace them, but we acknowledge the fact that these people are not quite like us. And there's an aspect of them that doesn't quite fit in. doesn't mean we can't be associated with them, right? It just means that if there's an inner circle, that person is connected, but they may be on a little bit of an outer circle, not the outer circle, right? But sometimes you'll have people who are just like in that main little core, and then some is just in a circle, and then a circle gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, but only certain people are invited into that tiny space. It reminds me of like a pastor and a pastor's wife, right? So it's like they love everybody, they love their whole church, but only a few people are in the inner circle of their inner workings of what's happening in their lives, because everybody doesn't need to know what's all going on with them. Same thing that goes for you. And so when you're looking for your tribe, it's important for you to go, okay, what does the inner look like? And then how does it, it branch out if people are going into that outer circle? Okay. So that's the first thing. You've got to identify, like, what do they look like? And then second thing is, what do you bring to the table? Good and then not so good. Right. Then you get this awesome opportunity to say, how am I going to meet them? Okay. And that means you got to go to your church. So somebody was asking me earlier today, I was talking about serving, and I said, I got to stop traveling so much so I can start serving at my church. And he said, well, no, you already serve. You do so much with the community and all that stuff. And I said, well, I feel like that I serve other people, but I feel like when I serve at church, that's for me. I feel like that's when the community pours more into me. Even though I'm serving people, it's like I'm in this community and it begins to pour back into me and help me fill my cup so that when I'm out of church, I have something to give or whatever. And he was like, oh yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. And so I have to ask myself, like, well, what does that look like when I go into church, right? Does that look like all the entrepreneurs? Does it look like everybody on the prayer team? Does it look like all single people? What does that look like, right? And you get to ask yourself that question. And my honest opinion is, if you're going to look for a tribe, I would go looking for a different tribe. Okay. If you're single, I would look for the singles. I'd look for the married people. I'd look for the people on the prayer team, the worship team. I would look for the people who are evangelists, or I would be trying to connect with all the people. Right? Because when I think about finding a tribe, I don't think about finding people who are all the same, because I feel like it's a bit boring, and I feel like it just keeps you in a bubble. You know what I mean? But if you're connected with this person and this person and this person, you begin to feel like your life with this like colored rainbow of all these amazing people. And eventually you can bring your tribe together and they all meet each other, right? Because more than likely you're going to meet this person, and they're going to have a group of people, and they can invite you into that one. And then you meet this group of people over here, and then they invite you into that one. And next thing you know, you got all these cool different tribes that you are a part of. And you're not just in this little bitty group of people who all fit the exact same mold. Because I think that we're all meant for a plethora of things. I think we're all meant for a community, and community looks like diversity. It looks like diversity of thought, that diversity of belief, age and race and all that type of stuff. And it really makes us more well-rounded. And we just get so much when we are in different circles with different people in a different tribe. Now, your core, you definitely have to have, like, when you talk about the basics, obviously that has to be very tight, and you want to pick that, right? But I think you can start by having a bigger outer circle, and then start to slowly bring it in a little bit, and you'll find yourself having quite the tribe and loving what it is that you have going on. Okay. So again, this is a short episode because your girl's got to pack and get ready for her cruise. But if you enjoyed today's episode, please tell me here in the comments, ask me any questions, and I'll see you on the next one.